Welcome back to this Argosy restoration, guys. We're on video 8. If you're new here and just tuning in, my name's Andy Rawls, and I build custom furniture for a living. And I also, for some reason in 2020, decided to take on this restoration project of this 28-foot Argosy Airstream. In the last video, we got all the paint off of this shell. A lot of comments in the last video about polishing it. I don't think it's a bad idea, but I'm not gonna do it. I'm sorry, guys. Way more work than it would be to paint it, and I don't see why. I mean, it's an Argosy. Let's keep it true to the Argosy name. I'm gonna paint it. I don't know what color yet. A lot of people recommended a silver metallic. I like that idea, or just the off-white, which was the original color, which is probably what I'm leaning towards. In this video, what we're going to be doing, we're going to be working on the chassis. So we're not messing with the shell at all in this video. I'm going to work on the belly pan, the plumbing, and maybe a little bit on the axle. So let's just jump right into it and get started. Okay, a couple observations. One, these Texas live oaks are relentless. There's leaves everywhere. Two, I'm really bad at tarping things off. I really thought it would be dry in the middle. Of course, it probably would have been dry if I hadn't dumped 20 gallons of water off the tarps into the frame, but it's soaking wet. We're a month in and my subfloor is already just totally doused in water. Not much I can do at this point. Just hope for the sun to come out and dry it out. We're gonna hope for some sunshine here real soon. I'm gonna go ahead and start laying out the tanks. Okay, so some of the plumbing stuff, it was just a lot of work, and the filming kind of got crazy. I didn't explain a lot, so there's going to be sections in here where I'm just going to voice it over, tell you guys what's happening. And right here, you've just seen me drill all the holes for the gray tank inlets. And so what we got to do now is hook these two tanks together so that they equalize. So they'll both, one fills up with water, the other one will fill up the same amount. And so that fitting in the middle is exactly how that happens. And what I'm using here is a rubber fitting. I don't want to use solid PVC because as it bounces down the road, there's no flex there and that PVC will break. So we use the rubber so that allows a little bit of movement and play in the tanks. Okay, before we put these into the chassis permanently, we just wanted to water test to make sure our connection is going to be okay, just to play it safe. Last thing we want to do is put all this in, fill it with water, and have it leak with the belly pan on. So I'm going to put some water in it and hope for no leaks. Alright, I think that no leaks. I think we're in good shape. I don't see any water leaking out anywhere, so we're going to call this good to go. Basically what we got to do before we put these tanks in is I need to cut the hole for the toilet flange right there. That's going to be a 6-inch hole that I'm going to cut. I've already got it laid out. I'll use a skill saw. We'll cut that out, and then we're going to start dropping these tanks in and cementing the fittings on. Now you'll notice as I'm installing this black tank, the outlet to the black tank is slightly off to where the pipe needs to come out the side of the chassis. And so I had a little trouble getting that black tank aligned, and what I ended up having to do is move it over a little bit, and I had to cut out some of the stringers that I had left hanging just so I could move that tank over and get it aligned how I needed it. Tank fits perfectly, all the holes are in the right spot, so now we can start putting in all the tanks and cementing in pipe. Now when I hook these up, you'll notice that I also use that elbows or rubber elbows, so that's another point of flex in there. That's another point where things can kind of move and the whole assembly can move and we're not breaking PVC. I did the same thing when you inlet, the outlet from the black tank to the valve is on a 3-inch rubber connection, so there's movement there as well. So the whole system can kind of float and move around. I don't have to worry about PVC breaking. So I know a lot of plumbers out there are probably a little bit annoyed at the fact that I'm going from ABS to PVC. You're not really supposed to do that without a mechanical connection. Ideally, you don't cement those joints together. I am using a specialized cement made for ABC to PVC. It's the green cement you see me using. Considering the circumstances and the fact that it was really hard to get supplies because of the virus and everything, I just went ahead and moved forward doing it this way. I feel fairly confident that it's going to hold together, so I'm not overly worried about it, but I know there's going to be some comments, a few people giving me a hard time about that. So at this point, I was having a hard time getting that pipe to clear the opening, so I just cut the frame. Hopefully the trailer doesn't fall apart, but I had to cut that metal out so that the PVC wasn't riding against the metal. Okay, so at a couple points, I did strap down the PVC to the underside of the floor. I thought this was a good idea just to keep everything lined up and in place, and then all the movement and flex will happen at those rubber hose connection points. I think that's the best thing to do. I just built up plywood blocks to kind of allow that PVC to rest on it, and then wrapped a strap around it and screwed that strap down. So here was the most frustrating part. When I was installing the handle for the gray water tank, I had designed this whole thing so that I could use the old hole where that handle came through, and it did not line up. I just didn't get the angles right, and it was glued up, and there's no moving and no adjusting. So I ended up having to drill a new hole almost on the plate that holds the axles. So it was right at that weld almost. Unfortunately, that was all I could do. I mean, I had to be able to open that valve, and I didn't quite hit it right, so I just had to drill a new hole. Okay, it's been a long 2 days of work. I am not a very good plumber. I think I've figured that out right off the bat. I think I've done good enough job to make this work. Everything's plumbed in. Black tank, the dump valves all together, and the 2 gray tanks. So everything's secured down, as you can tell. Tomorrow we're going to put belly pan down. So we're going to seal all this in. My dad went ahead and ran all the brake lines, so everything's pre-wired for the brakes. Making progress. Even though I feel like I'm not doing the best job, I'm still making progress, and I think it's all going to work out. Let's hope. Let's cross our fingers. So tomorrow we're hitting oh, don't play in that. That's bad for you. Really bad. Don't play in that. That's fiberglass, and that's going to make you itch. I'm sorry I didn't see you doing that, but don't touch it, okay? It's not cotton candy. It looks a lot like cotton candy, and if I was your age, I'd probably think it was cotton candy, but whoops. Okay, so my dad dropped by this morning. I've been in the shop working. I had an order to do. I've got a countertop I'm working on, but my dad came by, put in insulation for me, which is super kind of him, because you know insulation is not fun to work with. Now I know a lot of y'all are gonna leave comments giving me a hard time for using this type of insulation, and that's just what it is. I don't care. The thing is, you gotta remember we're on lockdown right now with the coronavirus, and I can't really go anywhere. So getting supplies is incredibly difficult. There's a lot of things that I'm actually skipping over just to get this all back together, and I'm just gonna go with the pink stuff. I had it sitting in the carport left over from a remodel we did, so I'm going to use it up and keep moving forward. The next step, I've got a bunch of aluminum in the trailer, and so we're going to cut it and lay the aluminum on here and hopefully get it all closed up maybe tomorrow and be ready to put the axles back on. Okay, so we've laid out all the old belly pan material, kind of figure out where it used to go. We're going to use all that as templates. This is the original piece that was the whole front length. It was a long piece, and so I'm going to make a plywood jig that matches this little notch section here. The banana wrap hooked to that right there, so I just need to make this notch in my new piece, and the easiest thing for me to do is just make a piece of little 1/4 inch plywood that matches that. The new sheets are 4 by 10, so this is wider than 4 feet. It's 60 inches, so it's about 5 feet wide. So I'm gonna have to run smaller pieces at 4 foot spacing all the way across there. It's just all I could do. I couldn't get material 5 foot wide. So I'm gonna make this template and then start on this front piece and just work my way that way. Gloves. Okay, great day of work, super excited. I've gotten all the flat section of belly pan cut and in place. Nothing is riveted yet. We'll rivet tomorrow. This section where the tanks are and that section is, we're going to use the original existing pan. So that is where the black tank went, and that's where the gray tanks, that'll cover those. And these bolt on and off. So it gives you real easy access to repairing them, to working on them. I can crawl under there, pull those panels off, and get access to my gray tanks and my black tank. Once we get the belly pan section riveted on, then we move on to the side wraps. And those, I'll just use the originals as a template as best I can and cut those and put those on. So making progress, feeling really good about this. I'm excited. The weather's been great, so that's good. So keep moving one step at a time. Tomorrow we'll start attaching the belly pan. Okay, got another rivet gun because I need 2 rivet guns to do this trailer. We gotta do buck rivets, which are more structural, and then this will do all the pop rivets. You could do the pop rivets by hand. I have actually no clue how to use this. I've got so many to do that I'm gonna use this. This is gonna save me some time. Probably save my arms from wrists from getting carpal tunnel. So let me get this hooked up, and we're gonna start riveting the belly pan together. As usual, I have to steal air nozzle off of another unit. I guess that's where that goes. Okay, just watching a YouTube video to figure out how to make a YouTube video.
The way this thing works is you just use a standard air.
This is how we all do it. We all just watch YouTube. I have no idea how this goes. Wow, one shot. I don't really know what just happened. That was confusing. That was awesome. Okay, well that worked beautifully. Solid as can be. Got a good feel for that. Let's start laying out holes, drilling holes, and locking down some belly pan. we got all the aluminum panels riveted in place temporarily, I guess. We've got a little shortage of rivets. Should have ordered more rivets. So we're just putting in enough to hold it for now. The edges we'll leave a little loose here so we can slide the side pans underneath and then rivet that down. What we're gonna do now is put this cover over the gray tanks. We got a little insulation on those, and then we're gonna go ahead and drop the 2 axles on and wire those up. The last step then will be to put the cover on the black tank. Getting very close, getting excited. Should be flipping this over hopefully next week. Also, we painted, I put some paint on the tongue up here if you didn't notice that already. We just used a product from Jamestown Distributions. I think that's what it's called. I'll link it in the profile or in the description. It's called coal tar epoxy, and it's super hard, super durable. It's 2-part finish, and that's what I'm putting over anywhere that you're gonna see. I put it in the wheel wells, where the door is, and then up here on the trailer tongue or A-frame. Okay, so the big belly pan pieces that cover the tank, so those are removable like I mentioned. And before I put on, the way I put the belly pan on, I lined everything up so that the seams are going in a way that is away from the direction of the travel of the trailer, if that makes sense. So if water's blowing up underneath, it can't work its way under the seams. I didn't seal any of the seams because if water's gonna get in, I want water to be able to get out. But I did in the area where I was putting that old belly pan on. I did put some weather seal around that just because it was kind of wavy and I wanted that to kind of sit down, and the way I seamed that up, you couldn't put the belly pan over it. So when water comes up, it's gonna hit right into the edge of that belly pan, that screwed down belly pan over the tanks. So I wanted some kind of gasket there to help prevent water from just running in. And so hopefully that works. Okay, so that shuts it down for this video. I think we've got enough accomplished, and the clouds are back, unfortunately. So looks like we might get rain today, and it looks like I get to tarp this off for like the 10th time. So hopefully this time I'll do a little bit better job of getting the tarps off once we get all the rain. A couple things I want to tell you about. First, I just want to say thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the comments. I have designed a couple very cool, actually I didn't design them, Bunker Branding designed them, but we've got some t-shirts to commemorate this project. This one is a black shirt, obviously. It has a cool 70s vibe, and it says 76 Argosy, and it has the trailer with the gantry cranes. Super cool shirt. We also have an olive shirt, which says the Argosy project. This is my favorite. It says Recreation Restoration on it, which I think is pretty cool. Kind of a cool ring to it. This is a fun restoration for me. I'm really enjoying it. So if you like these shirts, please, the link is in the description. Head over to Bunker Branding and pick one up. Become a part of this project. Help support the project. As you all know, we're kind of in crazy times, and I hope everyone out there is staying safe. I hope everyone out there that is in a hot spot or a bad area is just staying at home and riding this out. I know it's a tough time, so I'm going to try my hardest to keep bringing content, to keep getting this thing going, although it's getting a little bit dicey right now. It's getting harder to get supplies, the budget's kind of getting hit, so all that kind of plays a role in it. But in the grand scheme of things, this trailer is really not that important when you consider what's going on in the world right now. So I just want to reach out to you guys, say hope everyone's staying safe. If you are willing and would like, go pick up a t-shirt. Links in the description. I'd appreciate it. And we got exciting content coming up on the next video. We're going to be working on the axles. Hopefully, I'm hoping in the next week or two, the shell will be back on. But I'm going to tell you right now, I'm running into a lot of problems, and the axles were not easy. So stay tuned for that video. It's coming up next. Thank you as always for tuning in, and stay safe.